with Bailey Barish, who is a filmmaker. Bailey Barish and Manoj Purushottam, filmmakers who have created a documentary. Bailey has been around Roots for a while. For years she would document the annual meeting. I know she is a filmmaker from Atlanta and has done documentaries on AIDS in the African American community, on the end-of-life issues, also on a celebrated African American chef named Edna Lewis. And they're going to be sharing their film, which is about a wonderful treasure at the end of a country road. And I'm going to let Bailey come up and tell us more about it. Bailey, where are you?
Here.
Right.
And Manoj and...
Let's hear it for Bailey.
I've asked Manoj and Camille to come up too because they're an integral part of this whole process. As some of you may know, Azul is a handcrafted structure in Western North Carolina, and it embodies a lot of the concepts of Roots. How many people are familiar in some way with Azul? Well, the kind of thing it does is it fosters relationships and collaborations. It's all inclusive. It brings artists and people who love art together. It invites the community in. I have to read notes, I'm a little nervous. And it's accessible to everyone. And Manoj and I got together with Gillian and Camille, and we did a documentary. Well, it's not really a documentary, but it's a little video that hopes to tell people more about Azul and inspire them to want to learn more and perhaps to visit. And this video is unique. Well, it's about Azul, so Azul is unique, but it's also unique in some ways because it's a collaboration among rooters. It just turned out that way. And it's a barter. So that meant that Manoj and I exchanged our skills and our experience and our services and our time with Camille and Azul in exchange for time at Azul as artists to retreat and develop our own art. So it's an example of collaboration and of the function of Azul. So this is a small video. It had a small production window and a small post-production deadline. So it's a work in progress, but we hope you like it. Thank you.
There's a magic place just outside of Hot Springs that's available for artist retreat, where you can have peace and quiet if you want it, where you can work with other artists if you want it. It's affordable, it's reasonable, it's nearby, and you can have your dreams here.
The way I communicate it is like a rustic art studio castle / mansion.
Well, I've never seen anything quite like it. For one thing, I was very excited, but you know, the first time I'm like, wow. My first experience with Azul was coming as an artist to do a residency. Actually, during that residency, I was able to spend quite a bit of time with Camille and hear her stories about the place.
35 acre, one log cabin. We were very green, but my husband Dave is very communicative. He's very at ease with all kind of people. He has a knack to talk their language. He died in 2001.
They really blazed a trail. I mean, they were outsiders, and this is a hard place, or at least it was, to be an outsider, come into, and really be accepted. I think she started to make quilts, you know, which was sort of an inroad into some of the local women and their craft and what they were doing.
Appalachia has many gifts and blessings. Diversity is not one of them. A place like Azul can bring exposure to different cultures and diversity that is wanted and needed.
When I first met them there, my first impression was some more crazy hippies has moved into the community there. But the more I got to know them, the nicer people you couldn't have met anywhere.
I've been here for a community day. Everyone seems to know everyone, and then there's a stage downstairs where people can get up and perform. Maybe they're reading poetry, or maybe they're sharing something new about their artwork, and then they're musicians.
The idea of what is rural and poor can actually be rich and really a place where urban people can meet together to understand the world without having to talk too much, because the space, the spirit is going to invade you if you let it.
Camille did something pretty spectacular. She did a model, and the model was what she had in her mind the whole time, and just laid it out, and it looks almost exactly like what we have now over here.
And that's one of the reasons why I've loved working with Camille, is because she really has an understanding and a respect for good craftsmanship and kind of the way things used to be done and the way things should be done.
All this construction, I learned it from the carpenters.
She's helped the economy. She's hired an awful lot of local carpenters and rock masons.
I put a roof on a bridge that was kind of like building a boat. We wanted it as elegant and refined as we could, yet be sturdy enough to withstand winds and so forth.
It's totally open because what Camille did, this building, is linked to different stories of history of arts, you know, to the outside art, to the fact you do that yourself. This is an architecture, but it's handmade.
She has been willing to go anywhere, beg, take leftovers, broken pieces, and save it, everything, to have that be part of her vision and to save the money, because she's very, very economical.
The way I work is like I repeat things. The spiral is the Nautilus shell, and I'm fascinated by the seashell. So all that is connected.
To flow, this idea she has of starting the center of energy from here and just going like this in a pattern which is not circular. It's not a circular pattern. It's a pattern that starts as a circle and it grows bigger and bigger, and then woof.
If you arrive as a songwriter or a poet and you're there among painters, you won't be segregated. You'll be integrated. And the common platform of art, you know, will flourish there. You'll feel it the moment you set foot here.
I myself have come here and brought other people who have felt themselves shift within being inside this structure.
It isn't about how much you know, how much schooling you've had, how many classes you've already taken. It's about discovering yourself while being here.
Artists of all types and stripes, so to speak, benefit from coming to Azul. So I think those that need to have some reflection time to really get in touch with themselves would benefit from their time at Azul.
On a networking note, it's the one place where I think you can have solitude and connectivity to folks at the same time.
When you're here alone, it's almost unnerving at first, but then you really experience the house and the outside environment in your own personal way. The studio space is there for you to kind of move in and have it be what you want to be. You really do have to bring your own equipment, your own tools.
We started with a residency. 2010, we had the 2 first residents. And then Omari started to come. And Omari said, you know, the Skillshare. So I said, oh, that's just wonderful.
Yes, Skillshare is probably just maybe my way of saying learn and exchange. the sharing of knowledge and story and narratives?
I have done a workshop, actually, with a young man from South Africa. And I've learned to carve in stone over here. And I've learned to carve letters in stone. And that was something that my father did.
You have to make an effort of being open to any circumstance in the group. That's for me, it's a huge challenge, you know. And I've learned to do it here, nowhere else.
We actually have a more heightened sense of people's features.
I came to a New Danger retreat.
I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I am terrified. And everything in between. I live in constant fear of my own emotions and thoughts, and I can't even think, let alone see outside of this crystal clear box. Excuse me.
Take one. I just said, take a second.
Thank you.
I was welcomed into this group. There were 12 Americans of African descent, and I was the only Caucasian that spent the night over. The first day, there were a couple of locals that came and peeked in. The second day, there was half a dozen locals. You know, the third day, we had a big party.
Now it's launched. And now, it's kind of exciting, in fact, because now it's out of my hand.
So just on that note of preserving like the intentions and the energy of Camille and Dave to have a place for people to gather, be at peace, be creative, have community. I think